great pleasure to introduce my colleague, Shimelis Gebremichael. I have had the privilege of working over the last 6 months with Shimelis, and his accomplishments are impressive. Scant 4 years ago, he arrived in Edmonton from Ethiopia, and he's accomplished an incredible amount. He came with considerable achievements, 2 degrees from the University of Addis Ababa, a BA in literature and language that he told me was curated or was organized by a Norwegian university, and a master's in journalism and communication. And he also had professional experience working as a journalist in both print and digital media. Even with these resources, Edmonton provided its cultural and weather shocks, and we still reel from those. And this, in addition to being a husband and a father to 2 young children, and finding time to volunteer with his church and at CJSR and at various other places. So he is an amazing man. He is engaging, he has a buoyant personality and a charisma which is friendly and which really makes people gravitate towards him. The goal that we set at the beginning of our mentorship was to move from writing sort of straight journalistic pieces, the 5 W's, to writing creative nonfiction, memoir, and to writing, about his experiences in his new country, his adopted country. So, learning all the techniques of fiction in creative nonfiction, setting, plot, dialogue, description, and so on. I know that you will really enjoy the excerpts that Shimelis has prepared for you tonight. And so this is not my rodeo, so I am going to get out of the way and let you get on enjoying this.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Jenny, for that nice introduction. As you said, I am originally from Ethiopia, and I came to Canada around 4 years ago. So you can see how the world is becoming very small. From lately, we were connected to China, and now I'm going to connect you to the Eastern Africa. And over the last 7 months or so, myself and Jenny Edwards were working on a personal memoir of my experience in Canada over the last 4 years. So my memoir contains 5 separate stories, and my first story is my shock when I encountered the Alberta weather. And then, so it's a weather experience on the weather. So the title is When Weather Talks Loud. My 4-year journey in Canada has been like jumping into deep gorge from a very high hill. It has been a move from a communal, highly integrated, traditional and sharing society to a very individualistic, fast-moving, highly law-abiding, and at times ignorant society. When I first arrived in Edmonton, I was faced with the challenges of finding work and quickly adjusting to a new culture and way of life. Welcoming as they were, my fellow Ethiopians were themselves preoccupied with the very same challenge and had little time left for companionship and fun. In those early days of adjustment, Mother Nature was therefore my best way out of the scourge of loneliness. It was easy to find solace in nature at first. When I arrived in August 2013, Edmonton welcomed me with its blossoming trees, evergreen fields, perfect wind, shining blue skies, and warm temperatures. With its abundant trees, colorful flowers, well-groomed lawns, and perfectly planned roads and infrastructure, Edmonton didn't appear like a city to me, but rather like a park. However, my pleasant welcome didn't last. In 2 short months, things turned upside down. As September slid into October, I saw the city's young and beautiful body changing into something like a cancer patient passing through a cycle of chemotherapy. Edmonton's wind doesn't just blow warm or cold. In the winter, at times, it slaps your face, erodes your ears, smashes your head, cripples your feet, clots you, or boils your blood, shivers or shocks your vein, and chisels your bones. One of the tasks I dreaded was raking the leaves. This was in Sherwood Park. It was sometimes fun talking to leaves, but not easy satisfying the expectations of my bosses. So one day, I wrote the following poem. It's entitled, Leaf or Wind. Mid-morning on a chilly October, as the wind in all directions makes husts and madly roars, I left my warm room to rake fallen leaves, gray separated lines of trees once and for all gone. I tried to coral them with my finest rake and rag arms, but they rebelled, and with the wind, I was at war, flying on the air, up and down, here and there, playing with shivering me, the wind challenged me to a game, whipping my wrecked leaves up to dance away, mocking me, leaving me puzzled about my own fate, my life, my hopes and dreams. A young, hopeful African gentleman trapped out of context, out of control. Yes, if there was one thing that made me very much surprised about Edmonton, it was that weather. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop asking about it. I couldn't stop contemplating about it. I couldn't stop hating it, getting depressed by it, talking about it, and reading about it. Finally, in about 50 minutes, the next bus arrived. Life started all over again, and the process continued afresh. Forgetting my recent order, I found myself enjoying the snow from inside the bus, feeling warmer. Sometimes, it's good to be a spectator or a spectator rather than an actor in life. I thank you very much.